What's going on, everyone? So Jeanie Buss did an interview, talked about several things. But one of the things that she spoke about was giving JJ Redick the opportunity to kind of build the program that he wants to create, kind of build the vision in which he can have the most success, right? Like Jeannie's talked a lot about patience. Lakers kind of want to pivot and change directions and really kind of, build out get a program is the best way to put it, but really development, be like the premier organization for just player health, safety. You saw them hire Dr. Sims. Top of that, they're hiring all these training staff and all these development coaches and stuff to really kind of just hit home on being that premier destination, right? To where young players are going to want to go to on top of the Lakers brand, where they'll be able to be in the best position possible to grow and develop. That's great, right? I mean, we are the Lakers, right? This is the Lakers organization. They are the best organization in basketball, and they should be and have the best medical staff. They should have the best coaching. They should have the best everything. So I do really like that Jeanie and the organization is really doing everything they can to make this, again, a premier club once again. But here's the thing. We have heard time and time again that patience with the coaching, right, from Luke Walton to Darvin Ham, right, and each time, you're on a ticking clock, and if you don't deliver sooner rather than later, you're out the door. Now, there's a couple things, though, about that. One, the new CBA, right? The new CBA changes everything. Two, the Lakers are truly committed to just really building out their organization. And, it's why there's been a lot of talk on the Lakers are more focused on the future rather than right now, because they want the proper coach. They're hoping JJ Redick is their coach for the next, 10 plus years, hopefully 20 years, right? And this is it. This is the coaching search, and it's over, and JJ is the head coach for as long as he wants to be. If he wants to be the head coach for the next 30 years, he could be the head coach for the next 30, right? That's the idea. And then also you have the best medical staff, you have the best trainers, you have the best everything. And I love that. I do. I genuinely love that. So the Lakers are making the commitment. It's not just talk. They are actively headed in that direction to round out and fill that out. The other thing, though, is obviously roster, right? Roster is very important. Does Jeanie look at this and go, okay, like we haven't done our end on really building a true contender, right? Obviously, they feel like there's nothing out there. All the prices are insane right now for players. Like Jeremy Grant's still 2 firsts. He's not worth 2 firsts, right? All the prices are crazy. And look, the Lakers have said repeatedly, Rob Pelinka has said on numerous occasions that if a deal becomes available, he will make the move, right? So you saw, even with Darvin Ham, the Lakers were patient and understood the Russell Westbrook situation and understood the roster was a little underwhelming. So they gave him the opportunity. They eventually ended up going and pulling off the trade to get D'Lo and everything, and they were able to get to the conference finals. But to me, also, beyond the roster, because again, like, a coach is only as good as his roster, right? I mean, look at Greg Popovich. He's one of, if not the greatest coaches ever, and the dude can't even be a play-in team, right? Because you have to have talent, right? I don't care how good of a head coach you are. You can be the greatest coach ever, and if you don't have the proper players to really elevate, then it's irrelevant, right? I mean, Phil Jackson on the, one of the bottom feeding teams in the 90s is not going to be Phil Jackson that we know with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Shaq and Pippen and Rodman and all the, right? Like, you need to have the talent. So Jeanie could be looking at it as like, we got to be patient because we just don't have the overall talent right now. But I also think Darvin Ham would have gotten the same opportunity. Like, I genuinely do. I don't think the Lakers necessarily went into last season with the intentions of, hey, if Darvin Ham doesn't win, right? Because he was coming off of a conference finals, right? So I don't believe that the Lakers had any thought of firing Darvin Ham. I think that they planned on keeping Darvin Ham long term, but I think then you started to see the disconnect. And I think he started to lose the locker room. And I think he also, on top of losing the locker room, wasn't prepared, right? One of the big, you look at the reports as to why the Lakers fired Darvin Ham. It was basically all the things that I was screaming about all season long, right? Like lack of preparation, lack of player utilization, not giving guys real opportunity to grow and develop, right? Guys like Max Christie, stuff like that, right? Like just questionable rotations and lineup changes and play calling, and list went on, right? You kind of go down the list of all the things that Darvin Ham was bad at. It's like, that's why he got fired. And it's like, it's the excuse ran dry, right? Lakers started 2-10, but the excuse was, look at the roster, it's terrible, right? Like, it's all guards. You got like Kendrick Nunn, Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverly, right? Like, you're just going down the list, and it's just like, it's a team full of 10 guards and 3 forwards, right? It's just like, this roster, no one can win with this roster, right? And then they pulled off the trade, and then it was like, oh, hey, Darvin Ham, here you go. Now you got a team, now you got a roster, and he was able to get to the conference finals. So I think there was, and just from everybody, fans and media and all of it, there was this genuine excitement and belief going into the season where it was like, okay, Lakers, they're a contender, right? Let's go. We're money. We were just in the conference finals, and the team was basically, duct taped together on that run. And now we're going to get a full offseason, a full training camp, and a full preseason. And you could look at it a couple ways, right? One, Lakers had injuries to pretty much everyone throughout the course of the season, but particularly their main defensive pieces, which why they struggle so much defensively. A lot of players, just like Austin Reeves, just didn't play up to snuff last year. There's a lot of talk that he was just tired legs. Okay, but he didn't. He didn't play up to snuff, right? And, even through the injuries and lack of just consistencies and stuff like that, the Lakers still won 47 games, where it's like, okay, well, Darvin Ham went to the conference finals. Then he followed that up with a 47-win season. Yes, the Lakers were a play-in team, but they still won 47 games. Any other year, that they would have been top 5, right? So it's like, okay. And then it's like you ran into Denver and you got smacked by Denver. But it was like, if the Lakers avoid Denver, they're in the NBA Finals, right? That was a real thought that was being discussed by pretty much everybody. And it was like, okay, so any other coach, I genuinely think would still be around. I do. I think if JJ Redick wins 50 games 2 straight years, I think he stays with the Lakers, right? Even if he doesn't go to a conference finals, even if he doesn't win an NBA championship. Now, I don't think that he'll be able to go that way forever, right? But also, again, it boils down to the talent. What is the overall talent of the team? And if the overall talent of the team is there, then the expectation is championship, right? But let's say with this current team, let's say through this LeBron era, the next 2 years, let's say nothing gets done, right? Just this is the team that we have for the next 2 years. If he wins and, he's the 6th seed, let's say they're playing team again this year, which I don't believe. I actually think the Lakers have the potential to be very good this year. But let's say that they win around 47 games again, they're the 7th seed. Then next year, they win, say, 50 games in his year 2, and they're the 6th seed, right? I don't think that there will be any talks about JJ Redick being fired. I don't. Because I think that, again, the Lakers always had the intent of Darvin Ham being it. But then, like I said, you got the disconnect, and he lost the locker room, and then he had all these questions, and then the lack of preparation. And I think the lack of preparation was frustrating more than anything. Because it's kind of like, okay, you're not taking this serious. Where I don't believe that'll be the case for JJ. I think JJ Redick is going to be relentless. I think he is going to be manic. I think he is going to be one of, if not the most prepared coaches in the entire league. But that doesn't always necessarily translate to wins. But I also think that will be the kind of justification to keep him. Like, hey, he's doing great, right? It's just we need to help him talent-wise, right? We need to find that right trade, whatever, right? And then, I mean, obviously, if he can, have success and, say we get to the finals and we win the NBA championship or something like that, which, again, I wouldn't bet on it, but I also don't think it's, like, incredibly unlikely. So, I don't think anyone would be surprised if the Lakers won the chip. I've said this before, and I'm sticking by it. I really don't. I don't think anyone would be like, oh my God, no way the Lakers just won. I think people would be like, well, yeah, they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I do think JJ Redick's going to be a very good coach. But it begs the question of, like, Jeanie and the organization, period, keep talking about essentially patience, right? Like, we're gonna give JJ the opportunity. We're gonna give him the time, right? We're not gonna rush to fire him and stuff like that. And it just feels like, okay, so are you preparing to be bad? Are you like, like there's just a lot of questions that go into it. So does Jeanie believe that the Lakers are gonna be terrible? Right? Does Jeanie believe the Lakers are gonna have their issues and that, they're gonna have to kind of defend and justify JJ Redick? Or do they believe, no, JJ Redick is gonna be great, but even if he doesn't win, in the first couple years, we still want to give him the opportunity, right? Because we're more focused on, building a organization that prides themselves in just development and medicine and so on and so forth, right? So it really does beg some questions, but I do think that ultimately, I do think Darvin Ham got himself fired, and not just. Now, obviously, it's like, well, duh, he was a terrible coach. But I also think it wasn't so much because the Lakers knew he was a first-time head coach, right? Just like JJ Redick. I just think he was terrible and he wasn't making the effort to be better, right? Does that make sense? Like, he wasn't doing the things necessary to show, hey, I'm trying to be the best version of the Lakers head coach as possible. He just kind of was like, we'll figure it out. Right, not practicing, not doing the things necessary, not developing, not calling players out, not doing films, like just not being prepared. And I think that really just rubbed Jeanie and Rob the wrong way to the point where they were like, all right, fine, here we go, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with my points? Do you disagree with my points? Are you somewhere in between? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.